Welcome back to RotoCityTech. I'm Hank, and today we are out at my brother's house. I'm actually inside his used camper that he bought. If you remember and you watch the channel a lot, you would have seen me do a camper tour of his Flagstaff, I believe what it was. Put the link down in the description below. And they ended up selling that camper because they just didn't use it quite enough. And they went about a year without a camper, and they just borrowed ours when they needed it. And then he came across this deal, and he scored a really nice camper. He's done a lot of work to it already. We will be doing a full tour of this camper because it is really cool. It's one of my favorite styles of campers, and I was really happy that he bought it. But today we are going to install a new and bigger awning on the side of the camper. His has some holes in it and stuff, and it needed replaced. And we did some measurements, and we were like, hey, we could do like a 3 or 4 foot larger canopy on the side of the camper. Give him and his family a little bit more room, especially when there's a little bit of rain or something. And so we're going to throw it on there. I reached out to our sponsor, RecPro, and they were happy enough to send us out a whole new assembly, and I believe it is 17 feet. So in this video, we're going to be installing that. This isn't necessarily a tutorial, because honestly, we don't really know how to do this, and we're just going to go for it and see what happens. So enjoy the video. It's really windy outside, so hopefully I can do some narration at the end of this video over the video footage to kind of let y'all know what we did and what kind of issues we encountered. But anyways, let's get to it. What you'll notice is that this awning is only a 13-foot awning, and it is just inside that window towards the front. And of course we went with a bigger one, and we will show y'all installing that new arm. We are unrolling the old awning so that we can start taking it off of the trailer. And we got to get it off the roller off of the arm. You had to use a little bit of persuasion, but we did get that. So the old arms were riveted into the side of the camper, so we are having to drill out those rivets and then pull off the arms. Some of them were a little bit hard to get out. We had to use a punch to start a little hole in the rivet and then drill them out. So be aware that you might have to do the same. And there is Hodge rolling up the old awning that we just simply used a scissor and some scissors and cut it off and then slid it out of the rail at the top of the camper. And so it's time to unpackage our RecPro 17-foot awning. So there is the rollers on top, and those just simply come out and then they bolt together, which we'll show in here in a little bit. But big thanks to RecPro for sending this out and sponsoring this video. And we really appreciate RecPro. I know my brother does. He is super pumped to have this on his new old camper. And if you like my socks in this video, those are also from RecPro. I bought those after they sent me a pair, and then I bought like 2 or 3 more. They've got little campers on them, so big shout out to them. So now we are needing to, well, I'm just standing there with my hands in my pocket looking like doing nothing, but we are drilling in to the new location for our little, I think it's called a Z-bracket or something. There it is. There's a good shot of it. The instructions show how to measure where to position this, so be sure to read those pretty thoroughly. And we drilled some holes and we are mounting our little bracket. The arms just simply slide into those brackets and it kind of wedges it in there. So you just want to make sure that you're level and that you're straight and you're going into something pretty solid. Of course, we're hand tightening right here because we don't want to overdo it. There we are, checking with the level to see. So that takes a little bit of convincing, and we finally get it where it's good and we tighten it down. So once you get your brackets, we did the same for the back end. You can kind of see it there towards the back. And we got that one installed with the same methods. And then this just slides up into that little Z bracket. And then we are just checking to make sure that it is straight. Once we get it where we like it, he just drills in there at the bottom. Drills a little hole and puts in the lag screws. And it is solidly mounted. So here we are checking exactly if that's the location that we want, because it was actually almost perfect with the old arm, but it was just a little bit off. So what we decided to do was go ahead and fill up the old holes with some caulking before we put this new arm on, because it was covering those holes just a little bit, but we didn't want any rainwater or anything to get in there. So these arms are a little bit wider, ended up covering it all pretty well, but you just want to make sure. So we got that second arm installed, and then we moved on to assembling the tube, which is what is going to roll the tarp up. And it's simply 3 pieces, and you just kind of put them together. It's got letters and stuff corresponding to each piece, and we just slide them on there and bolt them down. One of ours was bent. I think it was some shipping issues, but we just got a hammer and kind of bent it, and it worked fine. So unfortunately, I missed sliding the whole new tarp onto that tube, and it just simply there's some nylon pieces that slide in, and then you just slide it all the way down that tube once it's assembled. And then the same thing when you put it on the camper, you just slip those in the slit and you slide it slowly. It was quite arduous, I guess. It took 3 of us, my brother and his son and myself, to get it done, and I hate that I missed that, but I don't know what happened to the camera. I thought it was recording and it wasn't. So, but it just slides in. It's really simple. We used the existing rain rail. We did not put the new one on because we didn't want to cut off all the silicone and stuff. So you can use your old rain rail. It's no big deal. There it is, folded out, and it looks amazing. It's so awesome seeing that it covers pretty much the whole entire front of his camper. Now it's time for the wiring. We slid the wiring through the existing hole there, and then we are going to cut it to the length that we want right there, and then we're going to splice those 2 wires in. It's really simple wiring. It's no big deal. Just 2 butt connectors, good to go. So we are just slicing the sleeve so we can get access to the 2 wires. And then we are going to use these little butt connectors and 2 splices, good to go. Same with the other side. Once you get back to your camper, it was just 2 splices there. We were able to use existing wiring and the existing button, because this trailer already had an electric awning, so we were able to just use existing materials. And then here is using it. You can see there that it is rolling up. You can see this black wire coming from the top down. That is the existing wiring. All he did to tighten that up is he flipped it where it was exiting out of the bottom of the arm instead of the top of the arm, and then he put in some white conduit tubing over to the existing hole where the wiring goes inside the camper. That way he did not have to make a new hole. And it looks great, and it functions perfectly. So that was, we had to adjust. There's a little bit of a adjustment that you have to do with a little screwdriver. It shows it in the manual to get it to close all the way. And then this is a cover that RecPro sent out that when you're storing it, it comes in a few pieces, and you just simply put it on and you kind of open it up and it slides on and covers your awning just to keep the sun from beating down on anything while it is parked. And that is the installation of this new 17-foot awning. It's super awesome. It was pretty easy. The directions were a little bit vague, it seemed like, but you know, we figured it out, and it just takes a little bit of common sense to get it done. But here it is, rolling all the way out. The awning looks great, the quality is awesome, and he's super pumped about having that extra 4 feet or so of real estate in front of the camper that we can protect ourselves from the rain and all that stuff and be able to cook. So super pumped about this install, and you'll be seeing this camper next summer when we're camping. So thanks for watching.